fellow members of the Virat Hindustan Sangam, I'm at a double disadvantage just now. First is I'm coming before lunch. And the second thing is that I'm coming after Dr. Vaidyanathan. I had told them I will not come after Vaidyanathan. He must come first in the program and I'll come last. But he is a sadist, so he deliberately delayed his plane and came late. But his ideas are wonderful. I fully agree. Generally, when people from the business school want to pretend to be economists, I don't like it. Raghuram Rajan learned it the hard way. Arvind Subramaniam learned it the hard way. But Professor Vaidyanathan is a par excellence. He's a multi-dimensional mind. And he's truly qualified for the title of being a Jnani and a Tyagi. And I'm very happy that we have a long association. And we look forward to more lectures from him. Now, I'm speaking in English because, as we explained in the very beginning of the founding of this Sangam, that English is an international language. I no more treat it as a language of the British. It's the Americans who have made it an international language, because America adopted English, and so today it's a global power. Otherwise, after decolonization, English would have disappeared. And at the moment, we have not yet reached a stage where we have been able to replace English in a national framework. And therefore, I think we shall continue to use English both as an international language and as a temporary national language. The mention today about the mindset is extremely important, and this, what we are trying to create in Virat Hindustan Sangam, is a new kind of Indian. We have said Hindustan because we have kept the door open for those people who are not Hindus, but are willing to accept the scientific fact of the DNA studies that their ancestors were Hindus. We will not admit those who think they are descendants of Gori and Ghazni, or that they are some mythical Aryan from Europe, but that all through we have been part of this soil, and our DNA is the same, no matter what your location is geographically, what is your caste or your varna, to be more exact. And whichever part of India, you're the same in terms of the DNA. Certain things are mistaken for racial indication. For example, complexion has got nothing to do with DNA. It's just a pigmentation problem. And therefore, that doesn't distinguish us, one Indian from another. So there's one Indian. He must have a mindset which has been destroyed in the last, especially 200 years, because there was a clear-cut plan of Macaulay, who came here on behalf of the British Crown and presented to us the implementation of the Minute on Education, which he had introduced in British Parliament. Let me tell you one thing about our history which we forget. We were at one stage 100% Hindu. Then there were invasions from outside. First it was the Islamic forces. Then we found the British came, but they had a shadow objective or a unstated objective of Christianizing our country. And to Christianize our country, Macaulay was very clear that we have to debunk everything about India. Anything good about India has to be run down. And he said that I wanted to create a brown Englishman. And that tradition continued after our independence. So today when we are having a seminar or a gathering, a conference on Renaissance, we are not looking for revival. Many things of the past have got ossified, have become out of date, which we don't want now anymore. There may have been uses of the caste system in the past, but it is of no use now. There is no such division of birth. It was never there in the beginning. You have to just read Bhagavad Gita to know that Lord Krishna said that it has got nothing to do with birth. It has got to do with your gunas. If you are a Jnani and Tyagi, you are a Brahmin. If you fight for the country and defend it, you are a Kshatriya. If you create wealth, you are Vaishya. If you till the land, you are a Shudra. And a very small number who were outcasted by society, which grew in numbers during the Buddhist period and then afterwards in the Islamic period. There too, their children were not the outcasts of society. Valmiki is an example of being born of parents who were outcasted. But he became a Maharishi, wrote the Ramayana. And similarly, Vedavyasa, his mother was a fisherwoman. So I've said this many times over and over, I'm saying again, we are one people. And that one people must enter the mind fully. It will take time because people are asking benefits from the state on the basis of their separateness or their imagined separateness. So Renaissance actually means a total restructuring of the society in terms of the needs of the times. What do we need? We need character. The character is of two parts. One is an individual character, individual to yourself. That is, you're an honest man, you are a kind man, and you are true, you don't commit crimes. That's individual character. Then there is a national character. And the national character is of a person who wants to sacrifice his personal life or his personal gains for the benefit of the society. He is willing to fight the ills of the society. So that if you have both, you are a superior citizen. Manmohan Singh had individual character. Honest, upright, straightforward, humble. But he had no national character. He allowed a semi-literate Italian woman to run the show and treat him badly also. She treated him with contempt. There are videos of foreign leaders coming. Sonia was introduced first. Manmohan Singh was kept in the back. When I had Sonia Gandhi come to Patiala House to take bail, First they said they won't take bail. I said, then I will send them to jail. And then they decided to take bail. They gave 50,000 as bond. And Sonia Gandhi made Antony as a surety, which means if she runs away to Italy, Antony will go to jail. But why I'm mentioning this is, it was a packed court. Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, and Motilal Vora, etc., they were not allowed to sit because they were accused. In fact, the congressman offered a seat to Sonia Gandhi in the court. I must say, to the credit of that magistrate, he said, no, you're accused, you can't sit, you have to stand. But there was Manmohan Singh standing like this. Not a single congressman was willing to give him a chair. Finally, I asked the person sitting next to me, who was my associate lawyer called Ishkaran. I said, Ishkaran, it looks very bad that the Prime Minister of India is standing there. You get up and give him the seat. And he sat next to me. I told Manmohan Singh, I hope now at least you will change. But there's been no change. That is because his upbringing is like that. To obey, not get into trouble, not to take a stand. Our society cannot grow if we are like that. I'm not saying that everybody should be rebellious or ready to fight. There are circumstances when you may not do it. But there are people who can. Manmohan Singh could have. He had everything. He was not short of money. He earned a lot when he was abroad in the United Nations. He earned a lot as a finance secretary earlier, commerce secretary. So there was no shortage for him for money. But yet, he could not take a stand. And that's the plight today we are having in this country. So the national character development is now lacking. We have lots of men of character. And our people are basically sound. It's not correct to say that if the present education is made available to everybody, we will become a strong nation. What happened in the general elections of 1977? Many people were in jail, all that is true. Of course, I couldn't go to jail because there was no way I could get caught. I even landed up in Parliament, they could not catch me. What can I do? I was told in the United States, please don't go back because Mrs. Gandhi will win hands down. She'll spend a lot of money, and democracy is for the educated people. It is not for the uneducated who think only of bread and butter. When the results came out, I wrote to my colleagues in the Harvard Economics Department who told me not to go back. I said, what we saw in the election is that the most educated part of India, the 4 southern states, voted for Mrs. Gandhi, and it is the illiterate north which voted against her and brought democracy to our country. UP, in fact, defeated Indira Gandhi and Sanjay Gandhi. And it is called Bimaru states. Bihar, then Madhya Pradesh, and etc., etc. They've created a word called Bimaru states. But this Bimaru state is the one that gave you democracy today, that we have today. Because this Western education had made us into sheep. We have to build national character. And national character can only come when you know what is your heritage and what you are going to do to save that heritage. I keep giving this example and I'll do it again. Anecdote which I'm going to state again because it's so important. The Saudi Arabians, according to a student of mine who was at Harvard who told me about it, are researching why India, after 600 years of Islamic rule and 200 years of British rule, which was a Christian rule, still is 80% Hindu. Why? Because Iran was 100% Zoroastrian, Islam conquered Iran, and in 15 years they became 100% Muslim. So with Babylon, Mesopotamia, which is now called Iraq, 17 years, 100% Muslim. Egypt, 21 years, 100% Muslim. Europe, 50 years after the people came from Middle East into Europe, they became, in 50 years, 100% Christian. But this country had 600 years of Islamic rule and 200 years of Christian rule, and you're still 82% because the true history of India. True history of India is that we kept fighting. Is it there in our books? Does anybody mention the Vijayanagaram Empire in our history books which are still being taught? We have still not been able to change these history books because it's a process of overturning an intellectual inertia which is developed in this country. We are not able to come together to adopt a text yet. So this Vijayanagaram Empire lasted 300 years, covered more territory than the Mughals did. But Mughals, which lasted in the mainstream, that is Akbar to Aurangzeb, was only 150 years. And our history books, there's a chapter for each Mughal king, but nothing for the Vijayanagaram Empire. How many people know that the Mughals tried to cross into Burma and then to Southeast Asia with the name to spread Islam there? But they were stopped by a Hindu kingdom called the Ahom dynasty. Not but once, but thrice. Nobody knows. It is the fight that took on, and finally, after Guru Gobind Singh broke the back of the Muslims, the Marathas in Pune finished off the Mughals, and the Marathas were ready to resume the kingdom of Delhi. It is at that time the British came, their weakest moment, and because of a division in the caste misunderstanding, in 1815 they defeated the Marathas, and that's how the British began their rule. And finally, in 1857, they consolidated. How can you have a renaissance if you don't know this? You can't say you're a new country. All through these last 600 plus 200 years, 800 years, it is the Hindus who are fighting. But we are ashamed to say it. No, we are all Indians. Even the word Indian. No, Hindu is also, you see, it was only called Sindhu. And the Arabs couldn't pronounce Sir, so they said Hindu. Well, in 700 BC, the Chinese were calling you Hindu. They don't have H, so they used a Y. And Hindu-Go is the name for India even today in the official publications of China. What does Hindu-Go mean? Hindu Rashtra. I showed it to the communists. I said, they are calling us Hindu Rashtra. Why don't you call us also Hindu Rashtra? You obey them anyway. But nobody knows this. There was a professor who was the president of the Beijing University who wrote a speech which he delivered to Harvard University in 1936. The headline was "The Indianization of China, a peaceful cultural borrowing," a case of peaceful cultural borrowing. You can read it. It's available. You can go to Google and get it. Professor Hu Shi, Hushih. He says that he, of course, had a negative view of this takeover. He explains how the brainwashing by the Hindus of China is responsible for China's backwardness. And therefore, China must become Christianized, only then it can develop. That was his thesis. But he was a great scholar, a great poet, and he was invited by Harvard to give us this special lecture, and it's there. I have traveled in every part of China, and the Chinese regard me as friends, as a friend. So I told them, I'm anti-communist and still you treat me as a friend. Why? So they told me a Chinese proverb, "Tiempu pa, tipu pa, jo pa yang wei zi hui shou zhong wo hua." So I said, of course I know Chinese, so I understood it, but I'll translate it for you. Fear not the gods, fear not the devil, but do fear the foreigner who can speak Chinese. It's such a difficult language. If you understand them, they're afraid. Then they are different people. I'm saying that our scholars went there and taught them, which we now are taking as if it is they who taught us. Bodhidharma went from Kanchipuram to Shaolin in eastern part of China and taught them what is they call, the Chinese called as Wushu. We in India call it as Kalirapattu or something like that in Kerala. Kalirapattu. And the Chinese character for Wushu, Wushu means protection in war. If you write the Chinese character and you read it in Japanese, it is karate. And now we have karate clubs, and people say, I'm learning karate, the Japanese art. We taught them, and they are teaching us back. Artificial intelligence is now going to use Sanskrit as the most computer-friendly language in the world. A school in Britain called St. John's School, very well-known school, has made it compulsory for boys of 6 to 11 to recite Sanskrit shlokas every morning because the principal has said, it's all there in Google. I'm not telling you something where you will have to hunt for. The principal said that if you recite Sanskrit shlokas that he had chosen, from the ages of 6 to 11, you will have a superior brain development compared to all others. In the 50s, we used to laugh at yoga. Today we don't, because the West has accepted it. Sanskrit also, tomorrow we'll all start learning because the Westerners are learning it. I am saying, therefore, to begin with, develop a new mindset that you want this country to now be what it was internationally. We called ourselves Vishwa Guru. We are halfway to that because we are already yoga, Ayurveda, Sanskrit. So many things people are accepting. They are accepting our Indians to come and occupy important corporations' chairmanships. Indians are acceptable in a big way in the United States, for example. But that's not enough. India must become a world power, which means it can secure its boundary. It can not only secure its boundary, it can help neighbors to defend themselves, and it should be able to see that it plays a major part in our international relations globally. We should have been a member of the UN Security Council when it was formed, but that time we were a colony of the British, so our name couldn't be considered. China Chiang Kai-shek government was made a member of the, permanent member of the Security Council. 47, that was in 1945. In 47, we became free. In 49, China became communist, and the Americans expelled China from the Security Council and handed you the Security Council seat with veto in 1950. And Jawaharlal Nehru said that is immoral. Why is it immoral? Perhaps because Edwina Mountbatten told him it was immoral. I don't know. He had a highly moral relationship with her. This is in black and white. Your nation is being offered the UN Security Council seat with veto in place of China. And you not only say, no, I won't accept it, but you say it belongs to China and we shall argue for China being made a member. And we did it from 1950 to 1971, every year in the opening of the General Assembly, till the Americans decided they will give it to the Chinese communists because they had developed good relations with China by then. What kind of a mindset is this? Similarly, there were 600 kingdoms which Sardar Patel worked day and night, and 500 of them were made to sign an instrument of accession which allowed a merger of their kingdom with India, and unilaterally. That is, it has to be only one way. You merge, then you cannot reopen that question. So all these kingdoms that you have who signed the instrument accession became part of India. But Kashmir took a little time. Ultimately, Sardar Patel asked Guru Golwalkar to go and knock some sense into the king. And then the king came to Delhi. In the meantime, the Pakistan army also had entered. He was getting frightened. So he said, please first send the Indian army to save me, save my kingdom, then I will sign. Sardar Patel said, no, I don't trust you. You sign first, then only I will send. Or you can go to hell. And he signed. And what did Jawaharlal Nehru do? Went to the UN and filed a petition, disputed area of Kashmir. There was no dispute. If there was a dispute, then there's a dispute about Hyderabad, there's a dispute every other. But the instrument accession was very clear. Who is there to question it? Because of our mindset. Panditji. How is he a Panditji? I want to know. The congressman never gave this honor to Dr. Ambedkar, who went to Columbia University in 1916 and got a PhD in economics. Went to London, got from London School a DSc in economics. Then got a law degree, came to India, where Patel made him, Rajendra Prasad and Patel, both of them made him the chairman of the drafting committee of the Constitution. He brilliantly led that and created a 400-article, the biggest constitution in the world. And no congressman wanted to give him any title. They used to call him Bhimrao. But Jawaharlal Nehru failed his exam in Cambridge. Of course, there's no Nehru who has ever passed an exam, according to me. Sonia Gandhi used to claim that she passed it, but soon found out that was all bogus. So I'm saying that, where is the honor? What is this mindset? You did not. The Congress never gave him the Bharat Ratna. It was in 1990 the Janata gave him the Bharat Ratna. Sardar Patel, who created a united India, he too was not given a Bharat Ratna. Rejected every year after the proposals came. And in 1991, I was law minister. At that time, Chandrasekhar asked me, as the Prime Minister, who we shall give, looked at the list, shocked to find his name not there. And then he became. Today they say we are grabbing Patel, but Patel, we are the ones who honored him. We remember him. This family any family on the basis of presents yourself in election, please reject it as a matter of principle. It doesn't matter whose family it is. Of course, the only non-family party today is BJP, but that doesn't mean that I should give up the principle that no family. But the fact of the matter is that this is a democracy, and we should have each member of the family not elected on the basis of family, but on the basis of their ability. Now today, we are fighting for things which no other country has ever fought for itself. The Muslims went all the way to Spain, demolished all the churches and built the masjids. Then Spain later on, after 300, 400 years, defeated the Muslims and demolished every one of those masjids and built churches in its place. The Christians demolished a masjid and built a church in Turkey. The Muslims returned to Turkey and they rebuilt their masjids there. We are the only country who is litigating every day. How many mandirs were broken during the Islamic rule? 40,000. And for Ram Janmabhoomi, it's not that Ram temple we are wanting. We want Ram Janmabhoomi temple. We are fighting for 500 years. Credit to the Hindu society that every year there was a fight. And now we have reached a stage where we can't wait anymore. First we thought the Supreme Court would do it, but the Supreme Court is going slow. So is there a way? Yes, there is a way. And I would like the Prime Minister to take that way. In 1991, after Chandrasekhar's government fell and elections were held, Narasimha Rao became Prime Minister after the elections. He asked me to join the Congress and help him implement the economic reform program that I had introduced during the Chandrasekhar period. So I said, I'll help you implement the economic reform program, but I'll not join Congress. He said, why? What is wrong with Congress? I said, you see, it's a family property, and you're a tenant. I don't know when they'll kick you out. So I cannot join it. So then he said, all right, you take a cabinet rank position as chairman for GATT affairs and so on and so forth. Became with cabinet rank in his government, attended cabinet meetings. And during his tenure, the Babri Masjid was demolished. And the Babri Masjid being demolished, then there was a Supreme Court case, and the Supreme Court then decided that they will find a solution. So there were a number of suits which had claimed the property as theirs. The Sunni Waqf Board claimed that property as theirs because they were descendants of Babur. And the Hindus had said that they had temples there, so we are trustees. And therefore, we have a right to that property. So the Supreme Court collected them from all the small magistrates' court and put it in the Allahabad High Court to decide. But that would be only decision of the title to the land. So the Supreme Court asked the Solicitor General of Narasimha Rao's government, what is the Narasimha Rao government's solution to the problem? And the Solicitor General said, I'll ask the Prime Minister and inform you. So Narasimha Rao consulted me and some others, and then he prepared a statement in which he starts by saying, if we find that by negotiations this matter cannot be sorted out, we are determined to enforce a solution. And he gave 3 solutions, all mutually exclusive, means one is true, then the other 2 cannot be solutions. So the one solution that he suggested is that if the government finds that there was a pre-existing temple in the Ram Janmabhoomi site. We will hand over the land to the Hindus. This is what he said to the Supreme Court. He didn't ask permission of the Supreme Court. He just was informing the Supreme Court. He says, we are working hard to find a negotiated settlement, but if a negotiated settlement is not possible, then we shall enforce a solution. And one of the three solutions he gave, of which this was one. And if this was true, then the other two cannot be considered. One was to build a masjid and a temple together and all that. But this was true that there was a temple below. How? The Supreme Court asked the Allahabad High Court, find out whether there was a temple there before, and allowed a makeshift temple to continue in the place where Babri Masjid stood. Even today there is a temple, but it is all in canvas and all that. It's like a tent there. And you can go and do, from a distance you can do puja. But the Supreme Court asked the Allahabad High Court, find out. Allahabad High Court asked the Archaeological Survey of India. Archaeological Survey of India brought in B.B. Lal, very famous archaeologist, and from Kerala, one K.K. Muhammad, who's another very famous archaeologist, and the two of them sat together. They used satellite imaging techniques, they used lasers, then they used the digging method. They dug up the place and gave a unanimous report in 2005 that there is a large Vaishnav temple foundation still there in ruins, and a masjid was built on top of that. So I've written a letter to the Prime Minister that why you go to the Supreme Court? There's no need. The Supreme Court wants to decide the title, they can. But every government has what is called as an eminent domain. Government of India can take over anybody's land by paying compensation. Article 31 of the Constitution. And that article was brought in because of the land reforms we wanted to carry out, and we didn't want any interference in the government power. So therefore, the government can take, once the Supreme Court takes 20, 30 years more for deciding the title suit, we have no objection. You take 40 years also if you like. Once the title is decided, we will give them compensation and say goodbye. This land belongs to the government. It already is in the possession of the government. So I am saying to our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, tonight please hand it over to the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, and tomorrow go and tell the Supreme Court we are implementing the cabinet resolution of Narasimha Rao's government, which is binding on us. We have handed over the land to the Vishwa Hindu Parishad to build the temple. When you finish hearing all your title suit wala questions, we will give them compensation to whoever you say is the title. What is there to stop anybody doing that? Narasimha Rao has said we shall enforce a decision. What decision? He didn't say we will appear back to the Supreme Court to ask for permission. He didn't write that. He wrote we shall enforce a decision if it turns out there was a pre-existing temple. There is a pre-existing temple. Government or Archaeological Survey of India says. So I am saying this requires a mindset. Everybody is going and scaring Modi and saying, oh, the UAE will be unhappy, Saudi Arabia will be unhappy. What is a masjid of any value to Saudi Arabia? Do they not demolish masjids every day? Please go and read the Google and just type Saudi Arabia and masjids. Masjid is, according to the Supreme Court itself, 1994, is an inessential part of Islamic religion. And then the Supreme Court of India goes on to say that a masjid can be shifted and a masjid can be demolished because reading namaz you can read anywhere, And masjid is only a convention center for reading of namaz. It's where the people collect together. Otherwise, you can read it in your drawing room. You can even read it here. Nobody can stop you reading namaz here. So therefore, masjid is not an essential part. There was a pre-existing temple. So what is the difficulty? There are no Muslims in Ayodhya. There are only Muslims in the neighboring district of Dr. Ambedkar district. They can give them a land. Shias are disputing this, that this was originally a Shia masjid, because it was built by Mir Baqi, who was the commander-in-chief of Babur. Only favor he did to Babur was he named it Babri. Babri is not Babur. What is it then? It is the name of a 7-year-old boy. Why a 7-year-old boy's name should be given to Babri Masjid? This is too highly respectable crowd, and I will not tell, but you can go and read Babar Nama and find out. It had no relations. Babri Masjid, how many masjids you have by name? So, masjid is demolished. In fact, I tell people, how can you prosecute Advani and Uma Bharati? They never demolished a masjid. It was a mandir. How do I know it's a mandir? Because in 1949, people put murtis there. And no namaz were read after that. And in and then of course, Jawaharlal Nehru put a lock. And then Rajiv Gandhi got the lock opened also. He even allowed Vishwanath Parishad to lay a foundation stone there. So everything was on its way to becoming a Ram Mandir. Today, I would say the entire Hindu population should tell Narendra Modi, on this you cannot hesitate anymore. Give this land to the Vishwanath Parishad or any other Hindu organization want. Let them build it. The moment you announce, I am telling you, 1 crore people will enter the Ram Janmabhoomi. Can any Supreme Court remove them? I don't think the Sabarimali example is a good example for Supreme Court's ability to enforce its orders. You need the government to enforce your orders. We are not breaking any law. This is Narasimha Rao who gave you this statement. He never asked you for permission. We are just informing you. I think the solution is there. There should be no hesitation. And I would say the concept of a Renaissance Hindu, a concept of a Virat Hindu, is one who will force the government to undo the injustice of past 500 years. Let him know how strongly we feel. Sometimes the Prime Minister will not know, because people around him are also there. Some Angrez ke log baithe hue hain. They wear suit and tie. They look like butlers, as somebody said. They say, no, international. What international? Do you think when we broke Pakistan into two, the international howl was not there? The United Nations, 114-7 voted against us. But we completed the job. And for that we have to thank a Jewish commander, military general called General Jacob, who disregarded Manik Shah's orders and went and captured Dhaka when the orders from Manik Shah to General Jacob was ceasefire, don't move any further, don't go and take over Dhaka, which was the pressure of the Soviet Union and the United States at that time. And of course, they tried to court-martial him, but he said the teleprinter was not working because there's no electricity in Dhaka. General Jacob later on joined BJP, became governor and all that. But because of his heroism, not Indira Gandhi did not liberate Bangladesh. So these sacrifices are there. Today, we are being harassed every day by Pakistan spilling our blood. A little sweet word from that cricketer who's a dummy of the ISI and military. How we want to build a road. He's making a road, we'll also go there. Why? Pakistan is opposed to you from day one. 4 wars they have fought against us, they've lost all, they've not learned any lessons. Once they broke up into 2, not learned any lessons. Today, parts of Pakistan don't want to be part of Pakistan. Baluchi doesn't want to be part of Pakistan. Sindhis don't want to be part of Pakistan. Pakhtunis don't want to be part of Pakistan. Only the remaining part of West Punjab, which is called Lahore and all those areas, there maybe they have a Pakistani psyche. But the other 3 don't. We should break now Pakistan into 4. That is the way of a renaissance. Or warn them that no, stop it, otherwise we'll break you up into 4. Can we do it? Of course we can do it. I was part of the Standing Committee on Defense. Many briefings I raised these questions. They told me what are the shortcomings. And those shortcomings we can remove without difficulty. We can take over responsibility for a price also. For example, Americans want to leave Afghanistan. Well, I spoke to some of my friends in America. Why do you want to? He says, we are fed up. We don't want so many people being killed. So I said, you are ready to leave? He said, yeah, we'll have to leave. We left Vietnam, we'll leave this also. I said, but then the Taliban will take over. The ISIS will take over. He said, so what can you do? They are your neighbors, not ours. They have to come a long way for us. So I said, well, are you willing to foot a bill? In my opinion, Afghanistan is on the other side of Pakistan. It's on the other side of the line of what they call is, the Pakistanis call as Azad Kashmir and I call as Ghulam Kashmir. That portion, they are on that side. If we are a Renaissance Indian, we should now start planning for the next 5 years to see that we land up in Afghanistan in place of the United States. And ask the United States as a price, open your warehouse doors. We want to take those planes we want, those tanks we want, all free of charge. I am telling you, the Americans will give you everything you want. You won't have to have a Rafale, and you won't have to have anything else. You will get it free because the Americans want, they have told us very clearly, they want us. But our people are still under the Nehru influence saying, no, no, we will not put boats on the ground. Why? Is that sacred protection of Afghanistan not our duty? In Maldives, I made only one statement, that if they don't have free and fair election, India should invade. There's a big halla-gulla from there. Our ambassador also got nervous. He said, no, no, he's not a member of the government, it is his personal view. But free and fair election took place according to everybody's account because of they thought my warning was with the blessings of Narendra Modi, and that's why I made it. We have to now think ourselves in terms of global role. You cannot be safe if you just think that if you are safe inside. You're not safe inside today. Every day there is a threat. Every day we hear that they were just undone a network which was going to kill many BJP leaders and all that. They will understand only one language. That is the destruction of Pakistan. And 3 parts are ready for your help. Open their embassies here and say, we recognize your government and we'll liberate you, and like we did for Bangladesh. See, problem with Indians is, and I've seen this with my students also, I'm sure Professor Vaidyanathan, being a good Madrasi, also probably understands what I'm saying. We are risk averters. You ask IIM Bangalore or Ahmedabad, what are you going to do after this? Well, we're going to look for a job in a corporation. Every year my salary will increase 5% and then gratuity will be added. And at the age of 60, I will retire and I'll get a fat pension and buy a house and watch television. That's a risk-free job. Why don't you be like the Microsoft chief, Bill Gates? Take a risk. He gave up Harvard and went and took a risk and became a billionaire. You ask an American that, they will say, tell us the probability we can also be like, Bill Gates. But Indians, no, this is too risky. I said, but this is guaranteed poverty for you. He says, yes, but it is guaranteed. That's the important part. All of us Indians have been brought to be risk averters. The moment you take risk, they say, oh, controversial person. Our fellow is a fool. And if you fail, then they say, we always told you so. This feeling has to come out of us. This the British consciously created the Babu class, as it's called. Safety, security. And this is one other aspect of our renaissance we have. We have to have the youth today thinking of taking a risk. One day when I was traveling to Tamil Nadu, the press cornered me in order to get me into trouble. They said, what do you have to say about Kaveri River water? We Tamilians are not getting water. We are dying of thirst and all that. So I said, do you want water or you want Kaveri water? No. I said, if you want water, I can desalinate seawater and give you all the water you want. The Kalpakam nuclear project, the municipality said, we cannot give you water. So they put desalination plant. And the only place you, for 24 hours a day, you can get filtered water on your tap is in the residential colony of the Kalpakam project. The rest of Tamil Nadu, all these tankers are going. And they are giving the water, and the tankers are making huge amount of money, a little cut they give to the politician. Everybody is happy. Nobody wants desalination. I saw the same thing with the Reliance people in Jamnagar. The Jamnagar municipality said, no, we can't give you water. This is a refinery project that requires too much water. So they put up a desalination plant. And today, the Jamnagar municipality is purchasing water from the Reliance company. That is the situation. This requires thinking out of the box. There is no problem of India which cannot be solved with risk-taking initiatives. When you succeed, you should be celebrated. We don't celebrate. Our people get jealous after that. How to bring him down, how to push him in. There are a lot of people who don't want me to succeed in my corruption campaign against Sonia Gandhi because they say, oh, it's bahut bada ho jayega. They don't want me to succeed in the Ram temple matter also. Fir usko koi puchne wala nahi hoga. This is our Indian psyche which the British created through their Macaulay program, and it is this which we have to wash off, and this will bring the Renaissance. And India has once again a global economic power, global military power, global intellectual power. Build a new generation of Indians. Build a new generation of Indians. Teach your children also the correct history of India, how we fought and fought. There's no other country in the world which fought like us. And yet we say, oh, anybody came from from abroad and looted us. That is what we are being taught. This inferiority complex. I think Professor Vaidyanathan was mentioning about the white man butler or no, plumber, who's better than an IIM professor. That might be true also. But the fact of the matter is, this inferiority complex is there. Get it out. Teach your children to ask questions. In India, in America, you go, you will see children walking in the Disneyland with their fathers and mother and asking why this, why is he got ears so big, all that. In our country, you ask more than 2 questions, say, shut up, otherwise I'll slap you. We don't encourage questioning. These are all the parts of the mindset which has to be changed. And I'm very, very pleased to see the growth of the VHS. Not by me, I don't do any work. He, Jagdish Shetty, they all, I only came by plane. I was told to come here, I came here. I don't do a thing for this. And it's been such a well-organized conference that we have already become being noted by a lot of people. I can tell you some people even ask me whether I can loan us 100 VHS people for the elections. I told them I can loan you 100 candidates for the elections, but not workers. We have made a lot of progress despite all the miseries, all the difficulties we suffered. This 21st century is India's century. We have the largest percentage of young people in the world. Our people below the age of 35 constitute 70% of the population. 35% only of the Chinese, 37% of the Chinese, of the population of China is below 35. America is 35. Europe, it is 45. Japan, it is 50. The chart which Professor showed, absolutely correct. This is the young population. This is the one that will do research if it's motivated. They will find cures, hydrogen fuel cells, desalination of seawater through solar energy, so many other innovations. Innovations change everything. Like the internet has changed everything, the same way new innovations will change. And the Indians are capable. We are doing it all over the world, but we are not able to do it in India because there's no encouragement for that. And for that, we must have men and women equally striving, because this is a knowledge century. It is not based on physical strength. And when it comes to knowledge, pursuit of knowledge, there's no difference between men and women. And therefore, that equality must be strived at. And that was our tradition also. I keep repeating to audiences after audiences that even Brahma recognized that when he formed his cabinet, gave all the important portfolio to the women. Education to Saraswati, finance to Lakshmi, and defense to Durga. And Sita, say, oh, Ram disowned her, he left his wife. He never left her. Read the Valmiki Ramayana. When he brought her from Sitamarhi after the Swayamvara, he told her in Ayodhya, in the palace, it's a tradition for the husband to give a present to his wife upon arrival in the new home. And my present to you is that I will not look at another woman. You are my only wife, she shall remain my only wife. And she said, if I ever feel that because of me you are suffering in your administration, I will leave you so that you don't have to suffer it. And when this whisper started about her and Ravan, she felt it was hurting his administration. So that's why she went, of her own accord, to be driven out. This is all Western interpolation. She is the tough lady who told Hanuman, when Hanuman said, sit on my shoulder, I'll take you from Ashokvatika back to Rama. She said, no, so many women here. They all must be liberated. There's only one way. Ram comes here and kills Ravan. Then only I will leave. That was the stage. Draupadi ensured that Mahabharat war takes place to avenge her humiliation. That again shows that that's the role women played. Physical strength in between after the Islamic invasions has reduced our women's situation. But now we have to revive that. And for that we have to make efforts. It has to be done in a big way. And I am sure that all of us who are Virat Hindustanis, we shall definitely strive for this, that women's rights are given as much on an equality basis. And we build a new society that way. So there's a lot of work ahead. I'm sure that we are going to have a national convention in Tamil Nadu, I'm told, sometime next month. And Our organization is growing very, very well. I'm now getting invitations from all kinds of places. I got an invitation from Bhutan. The government of Bhutan said that, I hear you have this VHS organization. We have Nepalis here. They are our blood brothers. So one day we should have it in Kathmandu also. And we have VHS in America. We have in so many places grown very fast. And therefore, I think there is a need for an intellectual Kshatriya, as they say. A man who is a fighter, but he thinks with his brain. Not like Rahul Gandhi. So that is what we are aiming at, the building of an intellectual Kshatriya. Thank you very much. Wish you the best.